to you all. This is our 7th live stream on the channel. This session this session we started last month, didn't we? Afresh from disasters in previous years. We're a little bit early tonight because I'm trying to get a bit more organised, but we have the questions for the quiz ready. I'm just covering up, obviously, what they are, and we're going to start with a little fanfare, which will be familiar, I think, to some of you. I hope so, anyway. Which is an old television jingle from the 1980s. I'm just going to set myself up on. I'll just set myself up on the stream here. Put myself onto mute on the other account so I can look at all the comments that come in. So just mute that and off we go again. So we are right at the forefront of cutting edge questions. We'll just pop a chat out and then we're ready maybe to start. Yes, there we go. I think we're ready to play the jingle to start the quiz, which is this one. Let's hope this works. Nope, it's the wrong one. Sorry. Sometimes YouTube searches don't go very well. Right, let's try this one. I think this is the one. There we go. Wonderful. That was the TSW ident from 1982. It always, to me, sounds like the start of a quiz show. So we shall. Can you all hear? Have been quite quiet for the first couple of minutes. I know we are a little bit early starting tonight, but is anybody actually there? Because if I don't know if anybody's there, then there's no point in starting, is there? It says I've got 11 people watching. Good evening, Simon. Good evening. I've got people actually here. That's most encouraging. Mr. G, yes, I am early. Diseasel, yes, you made it to the live, and this is the last quiz for some time, probably. So I think you will enjoy yourself very much. Right, okay. So next Saturday we will be doing, I think, a sort of more conventional live stream. We've done quite a lot of these quizzes. You voted for this on the last community post we put on the channel, so we are doing another one, and I've got the questions here. I haven't formulated all the rounds myself this time because I wanted to make one of them particularly easy for you, and another one I have subcontracted out to Mr. Jake Bill from the Wheels YouTube channel. So he has fiendishly composed something which it doesn't look very easy the first round, which is the one he's done, but there we go. The last round I didn't even do myself, and it's going to be quite easy, I hope. Mr. Coleman, Rubbish Mechanic, he is watching, listening from a distance from work. That's excellent, sir. Right. Well, the rest of you, I think, probably better get your pens and paper ready. We have 50 questions as usual in these live streams when we do the quizzes. Das neue Autoquiz number 3, and we've got 5 rounds as usual. Mr. Bill, just in time for the round which you wrote yourself, sir, which means you probably get disqualified from getting any points in the first round because you wrote it. So there we go. That's good. Right, are most of you ready to start, or are you still getting your pens and paper ready? Yeah, it's not really fair, Mr. Bill, if you actually write the round yourself, that for you to actually get points, because you know what all the answers are. So there we go. All Diesel's ready, chomping at the bit. Excellent, sir. That's what we like to see. Rest of you ready? Are you? Because if you are, then we shall go. Yes, just sit the round out, Mr. Bill. The other ones I haven't actually told you in advance what they are, so I think you'll find those entertaining enough. So the first round is Mr. Bill's mini quiz. Got a pencil. David, yes, I'm working. I'm listening in a van when I can. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. Mr. Coleman's doing the same thing. Right. Okay. Those of you who got your pens and paper, are you ready? Apart from the Diesel and bad books, pencil. Yes, you might need that if you want to rub the answers out. Question one, round one, Mr. Bill's mini quiz from the Wells Wills YouTube channel. For what reason would a rear light change from an oval shape on the Mark I Classic Mini to a rectangle for the Mark II? Right. Thank you, Depeche Mode. You can watch from the sidelines and have the rest of your brain this week. Yes, raise a glass, sir. We have this week another can of Sainsbury's Crown Lager, but it's a different type of Crown Lager this time. Okay, I'll just repeat the first question again. For what reason would a rear lights change from an oval shape on the Mark I Classic Mini to a rectangle for the Mark II? Question number two. In 1969, a two-door hatchback was designed by Alec Isagonis to replace the Mini, but it never got further than a prototype. What was this prototype called? This car actually appeared in both videos that Mr. Bill and I filmed on the same day. So yeah, we both filmed the exact car on the same day. The Diesel are going to score appallingly badly. Well, I don't know. You haven't got to the last round yet. The last round, I didn't actually write myself. I got some questions from somewhere else, and they are much easier than usual. So, 1969, a two-door hatchback was designed by Alec Isagonis to replace the Mini, but never got further than a prototype. What was the prototype called? That's question two. Question three. Why was the Mini disqualified from a 1966 Monte Carlo rally? Question three. Why was the Mini disqualified from a 1966 Monte Carlo rally? Question number four. Which Italian brand built the Mini alongside Austin and Morris? Question four. Which Italian brand built the Mini alongside Austin and Morris? Question five. This is an interesting question. What is the Guinness World Record for the most amount of people who can fit in a classic Mini? Obviously, it goes without saying, as with all these quizzes, no looking the answers up on the internet. Oops, sorry, it dropped out there for a second. I'll just repeat that. What? I'm so sorry, it dropped out again. Hopefully, when that is played back, it'll be okay. It's normally okay in here. Right. I'm going to repeat question number five again, because I'm not sure that you all got that when I repeated it. What is the Guinness World Record for the most amount of people who could fit into a classic Mini? Question number six. For which purpose was the Mini Moke designed? And you get a bonus point according to Mr. Bill if you can say why it ultimately failed at this purpose. Question six. For which purpose was the Mini Moke designed? And you get a bonus point if you can say why it ultimately failed at this purpose. Question seven. As of January 2021, how many models do Mini sell through their dealerships? I must admit, I wouldn't have got this right myself if I'd been asked this. Question seven. As of January 2021, how many Mini models does Mini sell through dealerships? Yeah. It's slightly out of sync because the connection failed twice. I'm sorry about that. I'm not quite sure what to do about it. I'll just have to repeat the questions more than once. I don't know what else I can do really. Question number 8. How many Minis has Mr. Bean owned on screen? Question number 8. How many Minis has Mr. Bean owned on screen? Question 9. In what year was the two-seater Mini Superleggera Vision concept unveiled? Question 9. In what year was the two-seater Mini Superleggera Vision concept unveiled? Question number 10. In 2020, Mini unveiled their fastest road car ever. What is the name of this model? It's a limited edition, so 2 bonus points are available if anyone can guess how many are set to be built and how many of those are coming to Britain. That's a complicated question, isn't it? In 2020, Mini unveiled their fastest road car ever. What is the name of this Mini model? It's a limited edition, so 2 bonus points are available for if anyone can guess how many are set to be built and how many of those are coming to the UK. Right, do you all have your answers, or do I need to repeat some of those questions? I do know that we had a failed connection actually at a couple of points during that. Yes, I know, Mr. Bill, but you know, this is a Des Neue Auto quiz, and it's not easy. Good evening, sir. We've just Monovision, yes, very difficult quiz. Good challenge to widen knowledge on Mini, yes. It certainly to widen my knowledge on the Mini. We're going to Trab Ali. We have just finished the first round of Des Neue Auto quiz 3, and we're just going to go through the answers to the questions. The round was devised by Mr. Jake Bill from the Wellswells YouTube channel. Richard Hartley just joined. Well, good evening, sir. I'm afraid you might have missed most of the first round. So I'm just going to go through the answers to these questions. I'm sorry if it's a bit out of sync from earlier. So it says in the first question, for what reason would the rear lights change from an oval shape on the Mark 1 Mini to rectangle for the Mark II? That was for safety. The rectangular lights on the Mark II were larger and more visible. Depeche Mode sitting up this week to give everyone else a sporting chance. Well, it's very kind of you, sir. Number 2, in 1969, a 2-door hatchback was designed by Alika Sigonis to replace the Mini, but it never got further than a prototype. What was the prototype called? It's the BMC 9X, and it's in Gaydon at the British Motor Museum. That was filmed by Mr. Bill on his video, and also on mine, the Shambolic Shuffle around the British Motor Museum. We both filmed those on the same day. Question number 3. Why was the Mini disqualified from the... Yes, yeah, Richard Hallett, yep, a lot of us have seen it, I think. Question number 3. Why was the Mini disqualified from the 1966 Monte Carlo Rally? The headlights were illegal. The 1966 Monte Carlo competitor cars had to come off of the production line with 5,000 others being built to a similar specification. The rally spec Mini headlights dipped in a way that was vastly different from the 5,000 other cars, and therefore it was deemed illegal. Silly, isn't it? Yeah, Mr. Bill's saying as well, they have the BMC 9X at Haynes Motor Museum as well. I've not been there for many, many years. It's quite possible they've got it there as well. Depeche Mode, yeah. Gaydon, yeah, it's been there a long time, I think. So question number 4, which Italian brand built the Mini alongside Austin & Morris? That was Innocenti, the same manufacturer as the Lambretta scooter. Question 5, what is the Guinness World Record for the most amount of people who can fit into a classic Mini? It's 27. I cannot actually believe that, having been in one of those quite recently, but it's true. Question 6, for which purpose was the Mini Moke designed? It was supposed to be a military scout car, but it totally failed at that purpose because it didn't have enough ground clearance. So 2 possible points there. 7, as of January 2021, how many Minis can you buy at a Mini dealership, as in what different models? Well, there's the Mini E, it's 1, the 3-door hatch, 2, 5-door hatch, 3, convertible, 4, Clubman, 5, Countryman, 6, Countryman Hybrid, 7, and the John Cooper Works is 8. So they I think they class those as different ones on the website. So apparently that's 8. Mr. Bill, I'm sure, knows this. Depeche Mode's very kindly pointed out that they've got a stunning collection of E-types at Gaydon. They certainly do, sir. They are very nice, and you can see many of them in Mr. Bill's walk around, because he did a Jaguar Heritage section as well, which I didn't actually get a chance to do. So that's very good. Oh yes, yes. Mr. Bill's just clarifying that did come off a mini website. 27 is possible. I've seen it. Oh gosh. Oh, okay. 8. How many minis has Mr. Bean owned on screen? That is actually, apparently it's 6. I remember the first mini from the 1990 Mr. Bean pilot that was, I think, a very late Mark, a very early Mark II one, I think, as far as I know, and that has orange with a different colour wing. I forget what colour the wing was on it. I think that lasted a bit longer than you'd imagine. It looked like it was about to die, but I don't think it did. The rest of them was, of course, the Citroen Green with black bonnet. I think the most famous registration on those was SLW287R. Bad Books 27. We couldn't even manage. Couldn't even manage a manage moment in the mini back in the day. Mr. Bill, correct on yes. I think it's RNT something H, something like that. Right. Question number 9. In what year was the 2-seater Mini Superleggera Vision concept unveiled? That was 2014. Question 10. Final question from the first round. Mr. Bill's mini quiz. Being polite. I understand. I understand Bad Books. Yes, Bad Books. Yes, I understand about what you mean there. In 2020, Mini unveiled their fastest red car ever. What is the name of this model? The Mini John Cooper Works GP. I've heard this actually. 3,000 in total and 575 for the UK. So tot your scores up for the first round. The second round is going to be another round of cars on television. I'm hoping that we won't have the same questions before with a different question, different series. So scores so far. Mr. Bill, of course, is not allowed to answer. 2. Mr. Bill and I never promised it to be easy. Depeche Mode says, "I'd love to visit the Heritage Collection, but I'm nervous that I might try to follow your car." I'm independent, so I don't work through a Heritage Collection. It was quite hard. Bad Books, full marks. Of course, you got full marks, Mr. Bill. You know, I'd expect that. You wrote the quiz. Okay. Are you all ready for round 2, which is cars on television? So yes, round 2, question 11. In Department S, what Italian sports car did the character Annabelle Hurst drive? Benny Bob Bundell, hello. Depeche Mode, putting a leg. Yes, of course, I know you are, sir, as frequently do. Mr. Andy G, 2. So starting really to go on. The last round will help you out, I think. Mr. Richard Howlett, 2. So no surprises, particularly from people. It's just as hard as it always is. Thank you, Mr. Bill. Yes, question 11. In Department S, which Italian sports car did the character Annabelle Hurst drive? John Cotton Classics. I thought I knew a bit about classic cars, perhaps I don't. I don't know. We've got 4 more rounds, so you know there's a chance to redeem some points there. Right, question number 12. In Return of the Saint, how many different Jaguar XJS models did Ian Ogilvy drive? What I mean is, how many actual cars were there rather than just like one model of car? How many actual of those did he drive? Question number 13. In Crime Traveller, what car does Michael French write off in a car accident? I'll give you a clue. It's the one in the thumbnail for the video about Crime Traveller. Oh, that's good beer. Right. So yeah, I'll repeat questions 12 and 13 again. In Return of the Saint, how many different Jaguar XJS models did Ian Ogilvy drive? Although they're all supposed to be the same, um, all supposed to be the same car. Really, it's just they might have had different ones. I don't know. You'll have to tell me how many there were. In Crime Traveller, what car does Michael French write after a car accident? It's actually the same one as in the thumbnail to the video that I made about it. Question 14. In the later episode of Danger Man, starting in 1964, what sort of Mini does the character John Drake drive? In the later episode of Danger Man, that's the ones after 1964, what sort of Mini does the John Drake character drive? Depeche Mode, you might have to get your pen and paper out if you want to. Question number 15. In which 1970s ITC series did Peter Wincard drive a 1960 Bentley S2 Continental two-door by H.J. Mulliner? Question number 15. In which 1970s ITC series did Peter Wingard drive a 1960 Bentley S2 Continental two-door by H.J. Mulliner? Question 16. Which series starring Gene Barry, broadcast from 1972 to 1973, was sponsored by Chevrolet? Question number 16. Which series starring Gene Barry, broadcast from 1972 to 1973, was sponsored by Chevrolet? Question number 17. I think a lot of you will like this one. In the Sweeney, how many Jaguar S-types were used during the course of the series? In the Sweeney, how many Jaguar S-types were used during the course of the series? So how many different ones were used? Question 18. In 1965, footage of a car going off a cliff at Box Hill in Surrey, shot for the ITC series The Baron, was deemed so expensive that it was retained as stock footage for a number of television programmes right up until the 1990s. Name the car that they pushed off the cliff. In 1965, footage of a car going off a cliff at Box Hill in Surrey, shot for the ITC series The Baron, was deemed so expensive that it was retained as stock footage for a number of television programmes right up until the 1990s. Name the car. Question 19. In the New Avengers, which ran from 1976 to 1977, what year was the Green Range Rover, driven by Patrick Macnee, manufactured? Question 19. In the New Avengers, which ran from 1976 to 1977, what year was the Green Range Rover, driven by Patrick Macnee, manufactured? Question 20. In The Prisoner, what car does Patrick McGoohan drive in the episode The Girl Who Was Deaf, which is almost identical to a car driven by Diana Rigg in The Avengers? That's actually quite an easy question. Question number 20. In The Prisoner, what car does Patrick McGoohan drive in The Girl Who Was Deaf, which is almost identical to a car driven by Diana Rigg in The Avengers? Okay. Do any of you need any of those questions repeating? Take that as a no. Good evening, Mr. Saxby. We're just about to go through the... thank you, Henry Bob Blundell. That's good. Good evening, Mr. Saxby. We're just about to go through the answers for the second round of the quiz. So, question 11. In Department S, which Italian sports car did the character Annabelle Hurst drive? It was a 1968 Lancia Fulvia. It's actually in, again, the thumbnail for the video I made about Department S. Question 12. In Return of the Saint, how many different Jaguar XJS models do Ian Ogilvy drive? Well, there was a primary car that was one of the very early ones. That's a manual, and then they had two others which were automatic, one that was mainly used episodes that were filmed in the south of France, and one mainly used episodes set in Italy. Okay, question 14. It's good that Depeche Mode's on the Livestream. Question 14. The later episode of Danger Man, what sort of Mini does the character John Jake drive? This was actually supplied by the BMC press department. It was a 1963 Austin Mini Cooper S 731 HOP. There was also a sister car 732 HOP. I think 731 HOP actually does survive. Mr. Bill will appreciate that, I think. Question number 15. In which 1970s ITC series did Peter Wingard drive a 1960 Bentley S2 Continental two-door by H.J. Mulliner? That was Jason King. It's not Department S because we already had a question about that. It's Jason King. The Bentley that he drove in Department S was actually a different one. It was a four-door saloon from 1962 by James Young. Question 16. Which series starring Gene Barry, broadcast from 1972 to 73, was sponsored by Chevrolet? That was The Adventurer, which is one of the worst television series possibly ever made, The Adventurer. I do not recommend you watch it because it's awful. He does it. Question 17. The Sweeney. How many Jaguar S-types were used during the course of the series? It depends how you count them, because I think some plates were changed around and things, but it's either 9 or 10. If you got 9 or 10, then that's correct. 18. In 1965, footage of a car going off a cliff at Boxall in Surrey, shot for the ITC series The Baron, was deemed so expensive that it was retained for stock footage for a number of television programmes right up until the 1990s. Name the car. It's a white Jaguar Mark 1. Although in the episode, the main car that they use is actually a Mark II. So the one they pushed off was a Mark I. If you put Jaguar Mark II, that's perfectly acceptable because it was supposed to be a Mark II. Also, if you put Renault Dauphine as well, you'd also be correct, because they also, in the same filming session, did push a Renault Dauphine off the cliff too. But the most famous one's the Jaguar. 19. In the New Avengers, which ran from 1976 to 77, what year was the Green Range Rover driven by Patrick McNee manufactured? It was a 1971 Range Rover. It was TXC 922J, a very old sort of car to be given by a press fleet, really. Question 20. In The Prisoner, what car does Patrick McGowan drive in the episode The Girl Who Was Deaf, which was almost identical to a car driven by Dan Rick of the Avengers? It was a 1967 Lotus Elan S3. Now, the one in the Avengers was SJH499D. That was a 66 car. The one in The Prisoner, LWF120E, was a 67, but they are pretty much identical. Right, round 3 is going to be about Kia, Daewoo and Hyundai, or the early years of those three companies. And so far, what are your scores for round 2? Mr. Bill, of course, has been answering the questions because he only did the first round and not the second one. 2, that's nice and consistent, that. Anybody else scored any points? Mr. G is shocking 1. Diesel got 1, it was blind luck. This is why we're discontinuing the quizzes for a time after this, because trebly Lancia Fulvia and the Jag Mark 1 off a cliff, that's very good. Mr. Bill, yes. Oh, Mr. Bill. Of course you got that one right, didn't you? Mr. Howlett, another 2. Okay, right. So let's go on then to her book, Shocking 3, Luck Rather Than Judgment. The last round is quite easy because I didn't write it, so there we go. He's on Jason King, couldn't remember his name. Yeah, well, it's always the tip of the tongue, isn't it? Question 21. What was the final version of the Korean version of Vauxhall Chevette, also known as the General Motors T car, badged as? What was the final version of the Korean version of the Vauxhall Chevette, also known as the General Motors T car, badged as? Question 22. What 1990s Kia shared its underpinnings with the Mazda 626? Question 22. What 1990s Kia shared its underpinnings with the Mazda 626? Question 23. Which two Kia models featured versions of the Rover KV6 engine in around the year 2000? They're only, by the versions I mean, one was a 2 litre and one was a 2.5. So which two Kia models featured versions of the Rover KV6 engine in around the year 2000? Question 24. What was the name of the first Kia ever produced in 1974 that was based on the Mazda Familia, or as we got it in this country, the Mazda 1000? Depeche Mode, reading ingredients on the wine. I'm glad you're enjoying your wine, sir. Do 24 again. What was the name of the first Kia ever produced in 1974 that was based on the Mazda Familia or the Mazda 1000? Question 25. Before the Hyundai Grandia, what was the name of the largest car that had been made by the company up till that point? Question 25. Before the Hyundai Grandia, what was the name of the largest car that had been made by the company? Andy Armstrong, you're not supposed to answer the questions in the chat. You're supposed to write them down on a piece of paper so you can see them and respond to them, as opposed to everyone seeing them. Question 26. Which model did Kia import to Korea to compete with the Granada? No, apologies. Yes, sorry, that's correct. Yeah, the Ford Granada was being sold on the Korean market at the time, and Kia imported a car to compete with it. So, which model did Kia import to Korea to compete with the Granada? Question 27. What was the name of Daewoo's homegrown competitor to the Granada and the 604? Question 27. What was the name of Daewoo's homegrown competitor to the Granada and the 604? Both were on sale on the Korean market at the same time. Question 28. This is all the Cielos. Was that in? Another point, just name the country. Question 29. Who was Hyundai's technological partner for the first generation Elantra? Question 29. Who was Hyundai's technological partner for the first generation Elantra, or the Elantra, as it was in some countries? Again, if you watch No Budget Reviews, then you probably know. 28. Okay, we can repeat 28. When did the Daewoo Nexia, or Cielo, end production? And where did it end production? Question 30. What was the name of the British Leyland executive responsible for getting the original Hyundai Pony into production? Question 30. What was the name of the British Leyland executive responsible for getting the original Hyundai Pony into production? Okay. Does anybody need any of the other questions repeating from that round? No? Okay. 29. Okay. Who was Mitsubishi's technological partner for the first generation Elantra? Who was Hyundai's technological partner for the first generation Elantra? Okay. Right, we'll go through these now. Question 21. What was the final version of the Korean version of the Vauxhall Chevette, also known as the General Motors T car, badged as? That was the Daewoo Maepsi Na in 1989. Na in Korean means new, and the car that had been known as the Saihan Bird and the Gemini and all sorts of things was known as the Daewoo Maepsi, and then finally, right at the end, the Daewoo Maepsi Na. There's some nice Daewoo Maepsi adverts on YouTube for you to watch, and of course, I enjoy them very much. Question 22. What 1990s Kia shared its underpinnings with a Mazda 66? That was the Kia Clarus, also known as the Kia Credos. I actually had a friend who used to own one of those, and I remember when he traded it into a Peugeot garage in 2011, he got £150 for it. Question 23. Which two Kia models featured versions of the Rover KV6 engine around the year 2000? That was the Clarus again, and also the Sedona. The Clarus had the 2 litre KV6 as an option, and the Sedona had the 2.5 litre KV6 as an option. Bizarre, isn't it? Question number 24. What was the name of the first Kia car ever produced in 1974, based on the Mazda Familia, or 1000 as we got it in this country? That was the Kia Breezer, as it was known. So the Mazda connection was there right from the start. Question 25. Before the Hyundai Grandeur, what was the name of the largest company that had been made by the company? That was the Ford Granada. The Granada wasn't then sort of, I suppose, facelifted by how the Cortina was, and the Cortina was heavily facelifted. Basically, a brand new body was put on it, and then it became the Stella, and also the first generation Sonata. But the Granada wasn't actually facelifted by Hyundai. They just made the Grandeur instead, which is based on a Mitsubishi. And that leads then to question 26. What model did Kia import to Korea to compete with the Granada? That was the Peugeot 604. And then 27. What was the name of Daewoo's homegrown competitor to the Granada and the 604? Well, it depends what year we're looking at. But before 1983, it was called the Cyan Record, or the Cyan Royale. And after 83, it was called the Cyan Record or Cyan Royale. So it's sort of the Daewoo Record or Daewoo Royale, because Daewoo changed the name of their brand in 83 for manufacturing cars. So Cyan or Daewoo, Record or Royale, any of those is correct. 28. When did the Daewoo next year end production? It ran in production in 2016 in Uzbekistan. It was in production for a total of oh, sorry, we cut out for a second there. I don't know why it's cutting out so much today. Question number 29. Who was Hyundai's technological partner for first generation Lantra? That's Mitsubishi. Mitsubishi engines and gearboxes, and of course the sort of platform that's based on the Colt or Lancer or whatever it is around the world. Question number 30. What was the name of the British Lane executive responsible for getting the original Hyundai Pony into production? That was George Turnbull, who brought a couple of marinas over to Korea for them to evaluate. Although I don't think any marina components were actually used in a pony. They made a sort of car that was very similar to a marina. Right. Please do tot up your scores for round 3. And I'll just take a sip of this before we go into round 4, which will be about the world of automotive YouTube. Oh, nul point, really? 1, Mitsubishi. 1. Well, I hope you chaps enjoy the 4th round, because it's going to be a bit easier than clearly that round was. Most people got 1. Yeah, 1. Oh, Richard, that's 3. It's very good, Rich. Very good. Very good. Very good. 3. Never promised to be easy. Okay. French parents had a Lantra, so new Mitsubishi connection. Yes, and if you watched No Budget Reviews, you'd also know that. Right, question 31, which is round 4, the world of automotive YouTube. In what month and year did the first ever Hub Not Social take place? Trouble. I just meant when it went out of production. Where that was. Sorry, sorry about that. So, what month and year did the first ever Hub Not Social take place? Question 32. What was the first car ever to be reviewed on the iDriver Classic channel? Question 33. Which of the cars on our fleet in Lloyd Berger Consulting was featured on the Matty's Cars channel in 2020? Depeche Mode, was it Clone? We haven't really got time to sort of talk about whether or not that was the case. It's based on the Astra platform, and there are many shared components, but they're not all the same. It's a bit more complicated than that. Question 33, which of our cars was featured on the Matty's Cars channel in 2020? Question 34, what is the least popular episode of Tweed Jacket Reviews? Yes, well, Wills, yeah, it's definitely a lot of Astra Mark II in it, but there are some changes between the next year and the Pontiac Le Mans and Daewoo Racer and Daewoo Heaven and all sorts of different names that it had. Question 34, what is the least popular episode of Tweed Jacket Reviews? Question 35, when was the 1,000 subscriber milestone reached on the channel? Question 35, when was the 1,000 subscriber milestone reached on the channel? Question 36, when I went with Planet Auto to the Goodwood Revival in 2019, what car did we travel in? When I went with the Planet Auto to the Goodwood Revival in 2019, what car did we travel in? Question 37. When did I buy the original Tweed jacket featured on the channel? I've got a different one now that I tend to use for reviews because the original one fell apart. But when did I buy the original Tweed jacket featured on the channel? Question 38. What channel other than Furious Driving has featured the most number of the cars that we've had on the fleet? Question 39. Which other channel featured when we took the 2006 Mitsubishi Shogun off-road a year ago? Question 39. Which other channel featured when we took the 2006 Mitsubishi Shogun off-road a year ago? Question 40. Apart from cars powered by the forbidden fuel, what family of engines can we not speak about on this channel? Question 40. Apart from cars powered by the forbidden fuel, what other family of engines can we not speak about on the channel? If you've watched Sensible Secondhand Reviews, you should actually know that. Oh, okay. Question 38 again, yeah. 38. Which channel other than Furious Driving has featured the most of our cars? It's in the ones that we either own or used to own. Which channel other than Furious Driving has featured the most number of our cars? That's question 38. Depeche Mode. Yeah. There are lots of GM parts in a next year or Cielo or Racer or Heaven or all the different names it had. Okay, right. Round 4, automotive YouTube. Are you ready for me to go through the answers on that? Ready for the answers on round 4? Yep, thank you, Henry Bob Bloodell. So, question 31, in what month and year did the first Hub Nut Social ever take place? That was March 2019. I believe it was the 7th or 9th of March 2019. Question 32, what was the first car ever reviewed on the iDriver Classic channel? That was a Ford Anglia, as in the sort of Harry Potter shaped Ford Anglia. Which is out at 9th, yeah. Yeah, that's good, yep. That's good. Question 33, which of our cars was featured on the Matty's Cars YouTube channel in 2020? That was the 2017 Seat Toledo 1 litre TSI Excellence. But it was actually filmed in 2019, but Matty got it up in 2020. Question 34, what is the least popular episode of Two Jacket Reviews? By far, it is my mother's 2017 Mercedes-Benz C200 Sport Estate. Disappointing for you, we filmed when we were actually able to do so once lockdown was actually eased a bit. It was the first one we ever reviewed and nobody watched it. Never mind. Question 35, when was the 1,000 subscriber milestone reached the channel? 31st of January 2020, or just January 2020 will do. You don't need to be that specific, but yeah, it was almost exactly a year ago. Question 36, when I went with Planet Auto to the Goodwood Revival in 2019, what car did we travel in? It was a 2019 MG ZS EV press car. It wasn't the one in the review, it was the one they had on their channel that was on loan, MG Motor UK. And I actually drove that car at the press launch in 2019 as well, on a separate occasion. 37. When did I buy the original tweed jacket featured on the channel? I bought that in 2000 at the school second-hand shop. 38. What Channel Love and Furious driving has featured the most of the cars we've had? That's OSV. First of all, was the 2017 Toledo 1 TSI Excellence. Then the 2014 MG3 1.5 style. Then the 2008 Astra H 1.8 design twin top. And then featured on the OSV channel in their behind the wheel segment, because I went down to Worthing 4 times to supply the cars for that. Question 39. What other channel featured when we took the 2006 Mitsubishi Shogun off-road? That was Boats and Engines, and Chris Phillips from Boats and Engines actually drove the car off-road in that video. I didn't drive it, I've just filmed. Question 40. Apart from cars powered by the forbidden fuel, what other family of engines can we not speak about the channel? That would be the Prince engine, because they are terrible. So that was the automotive YouTube round. I'll give you a moment to collect your scores for that. And we'll go on to the final round, which is general knowledge, which should be a bit easier for you. Disease, oh dear, why is that, sir? Did you not get any points, sir? Mr. Bill got 6. Well done, Mr. Bill. 2. Very good, Mr. Saxby. New plan once again. No, a scantily clad lady did not walk past. My lady wife, and she was fully dressed. And she's laughing now. Henry Bob Little 5. That's pretty good. Probably 5. Yes, excellent. Very good, sir. Excellent, sir. Right, a general knowledge. This will be the easiest round ever done in any of these quizzes. Only 3, sir. Only 3. Oh, Mr. Howlett. Right. Question 41. What is the name of form of transport that stems from the Latin for all? What is the form of transport that stems from the Latin for all? Question 42. Which former British car manufacturer was named after its founder, who later became Lord Nuffield? Question 43. The model number of an Aston Martin is often preceded by the letters DB. What does DB stand for? I'll just repeat 42 and 43 again. Which former British car manufacturer was named after its founder, who later became Lord Nuffield? And 43, the model number in Aston Martin is often preceded by the letters DB. What does DB stand for? Question 44, the Rolls-Royce radiator ornament is called the Spirit of what? Question 44, the Rolls-Royce radiator ornament is called the Spirit of what? Question 45, I think Mr. Bill should get this right. Who was the designer of the original Mini, or as they were properly named at the start, the Austin 7 and Morris Mini Minor? Question 45, who was the designer of the original Mini car, or as they were more properly named at the start, the Morris Mini Minor and Austin 7? Bad books, yes, that was my lady wife again there. Question 46, in 1945, what name did British car manufacturer SS Cars give their company in order to prevent association with a Nazi organisation? Question 46, in 1945, what name did British car manufacturer SS Cars give their company in order to prevent association with a Nazi organisation? Question 47, which model of car is usually known as the Käfer in Germany? Question 47, what model of car is usually known as the Käfer in Germany? Question 48, what was the name of the company formed by the 1952 merger of Morris and Austin? Bad books, yes, there was the Allegro SS later on. Question 48, what was the name of the company formed by the 1952 merger of Morris and Austin? Question 49, in what decade did Britain introduce a compulsory driving test? And I'll give you a bonus point if you can name the exact year. My paternal grandfather actually never took a test at all because he actually was exempt. He didn't have to take one. He actually was one of the last people not to have to take one. In question 50, the last question, right. Oh, Mr. Bill will get this again. The car known as the Mini is often called the Mini Cooper. What is the relevance of the name Cooper? So question 49, in what decade did Britain introduce a compulsory driving test? Bonus point if you can get the exact year. And question 50, the car known as the Mini is often called the Mini Cooper. What is the relevance of the name Cooper? And that was it. Those are all the questions. So tot up your scores for that round, and then we will see who has won and who has not. And Mr. Bell, of course, isn't allowed to win because he wrote one of the rounds entirely himself. Right. Ladies and gentlemen, your scores, please. Oh, actually, I need to go through the answers, don't I, first? We'll go through the answers first. That's what we'll do. Okay. Question 41. How many times my lady wife's gone back and forth? No, that's not a question, sir. Question 41. What was the name of the form of transport stands for Latin for all? That is a bus, because it was originally called the omnibus, which for my Latin A level, I can tell you it means, yeah, it kind of does mean for all. There's a lot of different translations to it, but it can mean for all. But we won't go into Latin grammar today. Question 42, what former British car manufacturer named after its founder later became Lord Nuffield? That was Morris, because William Morris, later Lord Nuffield, was the founder of Morris Motors Limited. Question 43, the model number of an Aston Martin is often preceded by letters DB. What does DB stand for? The company was bought by David Brown in 1947, who was a gear and machine tools manufacturer based in Huddersfield, who also owned a tractor company which was actually named after himself. It's called David Brown Limited. He sold it in 1972. It's called The Spirit of Ecstasy. Question 45. Who was the designer of the original Mini, or they were probably called, they were originally the Morris Mini Austin 7. It's Sir Alec Izagonis. I'm sure you all knew that. Question 46. In 1945, what name did SS cars adopt? Because obviously the SS were meant for Nazis. Jaguar. Question 47. What model of car was known as the Käfer in Germany? So Volkswagen Beetle. Question 48. What name was the given to the company formed by the merger of Austin and Morrison in 1952? BMC, British Motor Corporation. They also owned Vanden Plough, Wolseley, MG, and Riley at the time. Question 48. In what decade did Britain introduce a compulsory driving test? 1930s, 1935. My grandfather, my paternal grandfather, got his license in 1934 because he didn't actually need to take a test. He just asked for a driving license and they gave him one. The test didn't come until 1935. Number 44 is The Spirit of Ecstasy. Question 50, last question in the quiz. The car known as the Mini is often called the Mini Cooper. What was the relevance of the name Cooper? It was named after John Cooper, who was a designer and builder of F1 cars and ran rally cars, and he saw the potential of the original Mini for competition. Will tell me if that is wrong. Which is how yes. So there you are, ladies and gentlemen. Please toss up your scores. Oh, you want the answer to 45? Okay. The designer of the Mini, Alec Izagonis. Depeche Mode. I wondered how the door shut itself into the real one of footage. That's because my lady wife was there. Yes, obviously you need to pay attention to Wells Will's YouTube channel. It's the Mini guide. Yes, of course, Mr. Bill. I'm sure you got 9 that round. Diesel 5, Henry Bob Mandel 8. I thought you'd all feel better after that. A little bit better. 7. Okay, so please give me your total scores, not just the scores in that round. Bad Books 8 despite Latin, yes. 8 out of 10, very good, Mr. Hallett, very good. Mr. Saxby, 7 out of round and 9 out of 30. Well, you know, scores, and we'll see who's actually won and has got the free lifetime supply of oxygen as a prize. Trapoli 4 in that round, Diesel 8 in total. Okay. Well, that's why we're abandoning quizzes. Mr. G, 13 in total. That's better than last time, isn't it? Eddie Bob Lundell, 16 out of 40. Missed the first round. That's okay. 17 out of 40 for Mr. Bill. Okay, any advance on 17? Paulette Rayner 17. That's looking good. I don't know which one of these quizzes has been the easiest. I don't know if it's been this one or any others. We'll have to see. Okay. Mr. G, yes, because there were no Ford questions. 19? Does that mean you've won? Richard Howlett? Does that mean you've won? Depeche Mode have rewound to catch up. That's very good of you. Thank you, sir. Let's have another sip of this. Sorry for the technical problems this evening. They're not as bad of technical problems we had in the first one. We actually managed to hold on to it somehow. Despite all the mini questions. Well, that's because of my subcontracted round, because we had to subcontract some of the questions this evening, which was nicer for me because I didn't have to do so much work. It does take a lot of time to actually write one of these. It takes quite a while, actually, to do them, which is why I subcontracted some of the questions to Mr. Bill, and I think he did fantastically well. 32 out of 40. I thought you weren't supposed to be answering the questions, Depeche Mode. Right, anyway, the prize is a lifetime supply of oxygen. So there we go. Right, so thank you very much, Mr. G. Thank you, sir. So I think we'll probably end it there. Thank you very much indeed, everybody, for joining me this evening. Mr. Bill, very much enjoyed giving you all round one. I'm sick of oxygen. You do get oxygen poisoning if you have too much of it, don't you? Thank you, sir. Bad books. Time much appreciated to Mr. Bills. Mr. Bill did very well. This Saxby is good fun. So next week we're not going to be doing a quiz. We probably won't be doing one of them for a while. We done 3 of these in a row, so that's quite a lot. So we'll just be having a normal live stream on the 6th of February at 7:30, and we'll just do a conventional one. Obviously, catch up on mini knowledge on the Walswells YouTube channel, and for the rest of the knowledge, well, I don't know what to sort of suggest. You just watch some reviews on the channel. Depeche Mode, keep up the O2, said Bad Books. No, thank you, Mr. Bill. Glad that Mr. Saxby and Mr. Blundell have been having fun. So Mr. G is very pleased about the lack of quizzes in the future. Depeche Mode wants more ladies on the channel. We might see if my lady wife can come and actually speak on the channel if that's something you'd like to see. But you've got to behave yourselves. So we'll have to see. Mug of tea. Yes. So thank you ever so much indeed once again for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. Please click the like button. I notice we've only got 10 likes so far on the video. And if you are watching the catch up, please do leave a comment below. Yes, Depeche Mode, I'm sure you will behave in presence of a lady. So yes, don't forget to leave a comment below if you're watching this on catch up. And yes, I've recorded some more content over the last couple of days, so I've got some stuff ready to go. And yes, thank you very much indeed once again.